welcome to the table. Go ahead and take a seat. We're just about to begin. I am Midgarin, and today I'm joined once again by a cast of wonderful and affordable role players. Tonight, we're going to talk about NPCs. Ever since tabletop RPGs existed, of course, the NPCs have helped the journey along the way. Player characters need somebody to talk to, need somebody to go against, and need some help from time to time, and NPCs are the ones that fill that role. And there is a fine line between what makes a good NPC and what makes a bad NPC. And so I went ahead and invited on to us Chief, of course, our our baby player, has only been playing for a few months now. He's got his start in Theros, one of our story adventures. And of course, we have returning with us Aech, who has been a veteran player for many, many years, for she is old.
Wow.
I wouldn't even consider myself new at this point. Time-wise, it's only been about a year that I've been playing, but in that time, I've played so many games.
You're such a baby. And
Dropping the gauntlet there.
I know. You're gonna break your promise, aren't you?
Maybe. After that.
So, how y'all doing tonight?
Feeling my age. Is that acceptable?
Sure.
No, I'm good. I'm good. It's the weekend, so... Well, it's finally the weekend, I should say,
It's
for
Sunday.
me.
We're the Sunday nights. It's always the weekend here at the table.
I know.
Yes.
But Sunday is my Saturday, so I like it.
Right. So, NPCs. What do you like about them? What do you hate about them?
They can come in a lot of different shapes and sizes. They can just be anything from a shopkeep. They can be the, hey, stupid, the dungeon entrance is this way kind of NPC. Or they can be someone that's going to be in part of your party on and off, maybe the whole campaign. They can do just a little bit to help you out, or they can be just as vital as a player character. The danger only lies if they become too helpful. I've seen some NPCs that basically become to the point they're just a DM character that's overpowered. That's not fun.
So, what do you mean by too helpful?
None of your games, but I've been in games where, let's say the party's at level 5, and you have a DM NPC is what I like to call them, that are level 15, and they are multi-class into everything to the point that they do everything for the party. They're a rogue, they pick the lock. They're this, they do that. Oh, they're a cleric also, they healed you. To the point where there is no longer a worry in the game, and worry and challenge is D&D.
Yeah.
That's a very interesting statement, and that is true. You know, the NPCs are overpowered. It's like, why bother? You know, I was in a game when I was very young, in the before times.
Yeah, I was going to say in the Dark Ages.
The Dark Ages, yes. Or I'm a lich.
And old.
I'm old. I'm older than you, so shut up. Anyway.
Exactly. I'm a spring chicken.
That's right. So, when I was first playing Dungeons & Dragons in 3.5, we were in this town, and the town was controlled by 3 individuals. And the DM let us know, like, out of characters, like, you know, each of these leaders, they're level 50. You know, back in, like, 3.5 when you could do that. And I was like, oh, and they want you to do the thing. And my first thought was like, why don't they just do it? Like, they're level 50. They can just walk in and just wipe out an entire army without me lifting a finger. Why should I do this thing when this person can just go do, click, and it's like, you know, they can slay the dragon quite easily. Like, I'm level 5. It's like, it made no sense to me. Like, the entire story didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I get that. I think NPCs, you have to be careful with them as well. They are fragile creatures, and not necessarily physically, but like, you can't treat them too bad, or you've got your next, you know, arch nemesis and like supervillain on your hands, and they know your party because they have been with your party. So they can be dangerous at times too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very true.
Not that I'm giving you any ideas or anything about any of our NPCs in our games, but that's why we treat them so nicely.
You adopt every NPC you run across.
That means they won't kill me.
I shun every NPC we run across.
You're a warlock. You shun everybody.
Just like tall and broody, like the corner is where you live. Just
unless they accept your pamphlet.
Yeah, unless they accept.
Yeah, if they accept my pamphlet, then they're coming back to my room and we're having some beers and.
Ooh, so my D&D After Dark, I see.
Hey.
Only for our patron subscribers.
What happens in the deep stays in the deep.
So, what do you guys believe makes a good NPC? Like, what makes a good NPC to you? Like, if you had to design, if you had to design your own game, like, what kind of NPCs would you put in there?
I just for the personality.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I like seeing what makes them tick. I just like, because I like the roleplay aspect and, like, the backstory. Like, I like the story aspect of D&D. I also like punching dragons in the face, yes. But I really like the story aspect, and so I like, trying to pick the NPCs apart from a backstory point of view. So I like them to have depth, I guess, and be useful.
But I also feel at the same time it's too much depth. Like, if a character has too much of a story, it takes away from the players. There is a happy balance between, like, the person has to have, like, can have a story, can have a quirk, but at the same time they can't outshine the party. Like, you can have a crazy NPC, but you can't have an NPC that's crazier than one of the other party members, because that's kind of...
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So it's a very interesting tightrope that DMs have to walk, giving them quirks, and making them memorable. A memorable NPC is somebody that you're going to want to talk about over and over and over and over again. And
you have none of those that we've seen.
I don't have... Yes, my NPCs are all cardboard cutouts that we...
Well, they were. One of them was.
Oh my god. You promised.
The NPC that shall not be named.
Yeah. How about this, Chief? If she's really good, we'll give H like the last 5 minutes to talk about what.
No, I was just gonna say, for more information on this NPC, watch Gone but Not Forgotten.
Right.
We're almost at 10,000 views for that one, so yeah.
See?
Do that. I'm gonna try to do that so hard. I really want.
We'll just advertise our own podcast inside our own podcast. It's a fail safe. Is that?
No, I don't think
Inception.
No, it's
Inception.
No.
Podcastception. Podception.
No, I was thinking something different.
Hashtag.
Well, back on the topic. What I was gonna say.
Foolproof. That's what it is.
No, you're involved. There's no such thing as foolproof.
Oh.
Back what I was gonna say about NPCs on topic here. See, an NPC doesn't have to be somebody that's always around. Like, you think of like the top 5 NPCs, you're gonna think of the ones that you've seen the most. But really, a good NPC can be a shopkeep you only meet 3 or 4 times. It's about having a consistent story, a consistent, funny, or quirky, or some kind of personality that stands out in your head, and being consistent with that. Literally, one of my favorite NPCs, we've only seen him twice in the Tuesday game, is the shopkeep of the magic item shop in Midgarin.
Oh, Midgarin. Oh. I don't think I ever saw him.
Your character Mal's never actually met him officially.
Okay.
Like, Morthos went to that shop, like, I would say, like, 4 times.
Yes.
Okay.
I like magic items.
It's
Really?
He's this little gnome, doesn't take any bullshit kind of thing.
Nice.
You're not allowed to touch the stuff. He will get it himself. He's like, I'm looking for this. Okay, we'll stand in that corner. I'll go get it.
Oh.
He always has to get a ladder. And
Yep.
Yeah.
Like for NPCs, the devil is definitely in the details. Like,
Yes.
and that's what I do try to bring that to the games. I try to make sure that every NPC that you guys interact with is at least a slightly unique or slightly different than every other person, because you don't want their faces to blend into the crowd. Now, some NPCs can be very flamboyant, and some NPCs can be very quiet and very mute. It's just that differential that makes them more memorable.
And some are just super helpful by providing the party with meat pies. Best NPC.
I don't even remember talking to the NPC. I just remember
We
going,
didn't.
we're just like, this is what meat pies cost.
Yep. But he's there somewhere
Yeah.
selling us meat pies. Best NPC is the one we never actually saw.
Very true.
but my favorite NPC probably is the magic shop owner. Because it's like, you didn't need to go that in detail. Like the meat pie person. That was fine. You could have been at that level, but you went into more detail than we ever needed for the magic shop owner, and I appreciated that.
Well, yeah, you went back to them like a couple different times, and sometimes it's just a spark of inspiration. Sometimes it's just the little things to make because you want to make the world seem real. You want to be able to immerse yourself. If everybody is like, oh, heroes, come here and like let me regale you of this tale, or oh, heroes, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Like if every NPC is trying to backstab you, you're not going to trust anybody. So you have to make it so that they seem like real people. You have to be like, okay, well, who is this person? If you're a DM out there and you want to make a better NPC, you really have to do 3 things. 1, give them 3 facts. Give them 3 pieces of background information and then just work off that. 2, give them a quirk. And 3, you gotta give them a goal. They have to want something. Every NPC wants something. They may want safety. They may want the bandits from not killing them. They may just want to rob the party, but you have to give them a goal. And every time, if you give them a goal, then you can build a personality around that. I have an NPC in the Tuesday game, which keeps getting brought back. This NPC, their quirk is honestly, they don't actually have free will. They do exactly what they're told. They can't make their own decisions, but they're still a person, so they have a personality built around that. Like they're told to do something, oh yeah, sure, I can do it, no problem. They don't have a choice in the matter. So instead of them being, oh, woe is me, they just kind of go with the flow. They try to make the best out of the situation that they're in.
He just lets the breeze take him, just goes with the breeze.
See, I know what you tried to do, but I think you fell a little short. But, yeah.
His name is Breeze.
His name is Breeze.
Breeze Breeson.
Breeze Breeson of House Breeson.
Oh, God.
He's named after his dad, Breeze Breeson.
Yep.
Actually, so that was actually a really I had a joke like planned out. So like one of the things that like kind of freaked the party out is like Breeze knew all the party members' names. He didn't just know like their nicknames, but he knew their actual real names. So the joke was like, it was like Breeze Breeson, that's a weird name. If someone actually said that to him, he's like, yeah, well, it'd been better than, it's better if my parents didn't call me something stupid like Morthos or something. Like that was the joke.
Savage.
I had that written and I was waiting for somebody to say it, but nobody questioned his name. They're like, Breeze Breeson, cool. I was like, man, I missed my joke.
Sorry about you.
But him knowing their names, that was a big first impression. The fact that he's a very capable individual, like one of the NPC or one of the PCs dropped him from like 60 feet in the air, and he just like pulled out a featherfall token, snapped it, and just landed safely and just walked back into the tavern. Didn't really pay too much mind. Like it's that air of mystery that made Breeze like people were like, oh, we hate him, but also we want to know more about him.
At first, I thought he was gonna be a DM NPC that could do anything, but after an episode or 2, I've learned that he is vulnerable. He can die, as far as I know.
He almost did.
Yeah, and the more I get to know him, the more questions I actually do have, and that makes a good NPC. The more you dig into it, you're just questioning more and more.
He's a rogue who can't pick locks.
Yeah.
Or search for traps.
Yep. He has this, that's the other thing you need to give your NPC. You need to give them a flaw. Something that they can't do. Something that is beyond them,
Aren't these all things that are under a character sheet?
Yeah.
So wait, you just need to give the guy a character sheet and wow.
No, well,
crazy.
Yeah. You can give them a character sheet. Doesn't mean that the DM's going to use it, because a lot of DMs, they take the opportunity to use their NPCs as a power fantasy.
Yeah, I was going to say
that's kind of what I was talking about with DM NPCs.
Yeah.
So I've been in games where like the DM, maybe there's like 3 players, and so the DM has a character in the group as well, but they won't. So it's not an actual NPC. It's literally they are playing a character, but they make sure not to metagame. But I think in Chief's experience, I think your DM sounds like they were just doing that, throwing a person in, because I mean they'd match the level and everything of the party. In my experience, they wouldn't make them some ultra high level paragon of adventuring. So I think there is a very distinct difference between a DM's character and NPCs that the DMs use.
My old gaming group, we had this guy, and he was a anime fanatic, is I guess a nice word to put it. And so like we knew that like, and he had this habit of trying to make overpowered characters. he tried to. He didn't really read the book, so like when he tried to do abilities, they didn't work out the way he wanted them to. I can do an entire segment on this person. Anyways, he's like, hey, I want to run a game. I was like, okay. And like we're all like looked at each other, we're like, okay. And we let him do it. And we knew the kind of characters that he was going to make. We knew that they were going to be overly powerful, they were going to be the best of the best. And they're going to have all the anime bullshit that he could shove into a character. And so Orc and Orc's a very good role player, very good friend of mine. We min-maxed. We made characters that were really like just overpowered. He's like, all right, guys, I want you guys to make level 5 characters. And this is back in 3.5 when you could just do bullshit. You could just make anything. So I made a half-giant psychic warrior, and Orc made a bard. The bard was a stripper, which not really important to the story, but I think that I feel like people should know that part about the story. And very important part. And so it's like, so he sicks his assassin on us, and his goal, his plan, his idea was that the assassin was going to attack us and defeat us, and then like kidnap us and do others, and then like do stuff, and then like we would be like recruited into the assassin guild or whatever. And like, even though that my character, the half giant Arc, was never going to be sneaky, he was just going to be he was just a brute. That's all he did. He hit things with the sword, and that was his life, and he was okay with that. And so he sicked the assassin on us, and we beat the shit out of this person who was, I would say, 5 levels higher than what we were. Like the assassin was level 10, and so like we tied her up, and we were just like debating over like what we were going to do to this person. And like this guy just started crying, just like, it's like, like, this is my character, and you're gonna kill her, and I can't have this. And like I was like, and like we like stopped. They were like, okay. It's like, don't torture. Like start crying and whining. I was like, okay, man, we're just gonna let the assassin. It's like, you promise never to assassin again. It's just like, oh my gosh. Yes. It's like, okay, well, we untie her. We just let her go. Like, no problem. But like that was like the first time out of like the 5 times that we dealt with one of his quote unquote NPCs, and it was just awkward for everybody in the party because like we couldn't hurt his NPCs because he would have a conniption. Oh god, that's horrible. Yeah, so I never want that to happen in my games. I always want, like, all my NPCs are killable. You can kill every single NPC. It can happen, and there is a way to do it.
And we should do it more often.
Sure. I do make overpowered NPCs. There are NPCs in the world that
Sorry, what?
There are NPCs in the world that are very powerful. But there's ways around that overpoweredness. For one, I do have an overpowered mage in my game, but he doesn't really have that many attack spells. He has like 2. Most of his spells are about teleportation and it's like teleportation and dimensional travel. That's what he does. That's his specialty, and so he's not really meant for going on adventures. So he's very strong, and but that's just not his wheelhouse. And so doing stuff like that, making an overpowered character, but at the same time making them like, okay, well, I have all this power, but I'm not really equipped to adventure, Yeah. I feel like that's one of the better ways to handle an overpowered character. It's like, as a DM, you can have an overpowered character, but adventuring is not their job, because they wouldn't hire adventurers if they could do it themselves. Yeah.
Right. That is a big thing. You cannot make a bunch of NPCs overshadow the party. The party has to be in a position where if they weren't there, bad things are going to happen in the world.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, no, I fully agree. Like, I know that mage did help in one fight, but the party took care of most of the fight. So, like, I agree. Like, he's powerful, but we together, stomped all the creatures on our own.
Yeah.
Heck, that's what we did this last game with just 2 of us.
Yeah, we got some spells that worked together really well, didn't we?
That was some synergy, and I'm like, I need to go back to the drawing board for stuff.
That was not pre-planned out either. That was great.
Yeah, that was pretty fantastic.
Just a wall of radiance rather than wall of fire wrapped around some NPCs. Dropped sickening radiance in the middle from the warlock sorcerer, and boom, done.
They can't stay there. They can't go out.
So
Love killing NPCs.
thanks.
We should kill the actual NPCs more often, especially when I recommended to do so a long time ago.
Yeah, no, he's one of the OP ones. He's gonna be a big boss, I think.
Oh, that was my favorite thing. Was like I gave you guys an NPC that you guys absolutely wanted to die, but made him politically. You guys weren't allowed to touch him, and you had to interact with him, and that was just.
Well, some of us didn't care. Some of us didn't care. Some of us wanted to kill him.
Some of you didn't care, but
there was enough of us.
There was enough of you that
who were like, no, we gotta be good.
But some of my favorite scenes were where you guys came to talk to him one-on-one, and he wasn't a dick. Like he was like, well, this is my job. I have to do this kind of thing. And like one of the PCs actually is like, well, can I help you? And it was just very fascinating. Like trying to you guys were trying to figure out, like, is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? And now the term that
he a bad guy.
It's like, oh yeah, he's definitely a bad guy. But the interactions that you guys had with him, this character Omar, was just mwah.
Yeah.
I had never fully trusted him from the start. I want to put that out there.
Did. I don't think any of us did, but
there was a few that did start to trust him.
He went a little crazy. I mean, to be fair, one of them was like compelled to trust him, so I don't think she had a choice.
Akira had to just all of a sudden start thinking.
Maybe he's good.
Akira didn't think when I first met Akira. Yeah. Old Akira would have just went Ice Smash and yeah, we'd have fought, but
nope. The barbarian started thinking. It's always dangerous.
Dangerous pastime, I know.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you think are good quirks to give an NPC, and what do you think are bad quirks to give an NPC?
Ooh.
I know, here on the Sunday nights, we have the hard-hitting questions.
Heard that before.
Yeah, on Sunday nights.
Oh, right. Yeah. Well, I've got, so in one of my recent games, we had a collection of NPCs who traveled with us, and the party refused to learn their names. They just called them by the weapon that they wielded. So we had axe, sword, and bow. And my character joined the game right about that time, and we, straight out the bat, we were up against a white dragon, and we ended up losing axe in the fight. And so my character, I didn't know that they were avoiding learning these NPCs' names because they knew that they could die and they didn't want to have that connection to them. They were just hired hands, basically. My character, I didn't know that they were avoiding it, so I was like, oh, what was his name? And the barbarian's like, no! And he runs away. And so I started introducing myself to these NPCs, and now the barbarian avoids me every time I talk to them, just in case. So that's it's not necessarily an NPC quirk, but it's a character quirk in regards to NPCs, I guess. That it's been really fun for the group.
So I thought of some bad NPC quirks. Basically, anything that's going to steal the spotlight from the party, breaking the fourth wall, being someone that interrupts a lot, on purpose as a quirk, being someone who talks loud or a lot, or just overly personality to the point that they are talking more than the party.
So I think you just described Deadpool.
He might be on my screen currently. That might have influenced my choices.
That first one I was like, yes, Deadpool.
But yes, those are not good.
NPCs. I'm not a fan of NPCs that know everything.
Oh god, yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of those. So when I run into them, it's like, oh, so what about so tell me about this person, and then get an entire info dump of the subjects. I apparently ran into the fucking expert. It's I like it when I get to search out and discover things and not just know, not just being told everything. To me, that's just boring. If you go and if you're trying to investigate the murders and the guy's like, oh yeah, I was best friends with the murderer. He lives down the street. Oh, well, I mean, that's not really an adventure. That's just, going from point A to point B and fighting somebody.
Yeah, I play a know-it-all, PC, So I don't want to encounter. I mean, yeah, I don't want to encounter a know-it-all. Like it takes away the fun from like as an investigator. Like takes away my fun by like just providing me with all of the answers in human form.
To be fair, like we had a lot of PCs that like tried to be know-it-alls while you were trying to be a know-it-all, and trying to do everything that you were trying to do. And I was like, and I felt like if I gave her an NPC that did the exact same thing, that's just not going to end well for anybody. It's like,
I mean, it would end me playing the character, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Because, it would have taken away my fun. You know, like, my whole character's story is, like, based around, like, learning and investigating all these things. And if everybody takes it over, that's just, I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'm going to bring in a different character who doesn't care about learning things.
Yeah, your character's base is definitely to the library. And we had a PC that was, like, in everybody's business. And it's like, oh, well, it's like, oh, you're doing this? I'm going to do this with you. And, like, oh, you're doing this? I'm going to do that, too. And I was like, pick your own thing, you know? Let these people play their characters, like, but I'm supposed to be, this is a cooperative game. I'm supposed to help. It's like, there's a line between being helpful and pushing yourself. And
stealing people.
Yeah, and pushing yourself into people's storylines.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, it was hard for me to start finding my own paths there for a while as well. So
we're so proud of you. Like after the Tuesday game, sometimes like I'll message H or I'll message somebody else. Like, I'm so proud of our little Morthos. He's growing up so fast. Like, because like in the beginning
he was just really quiet. Yeah.
Well, in the beginning, it was like, oh, I'm a broody warlock. And you were just focused on like, I just want to hit things with magic. Like, that's all I cared about. And like now, Morthos is a much more flushed out character and not only has an NPC follower, had
rest in peace, Mojo.
We miss you, Mojo.
What was his real name? Hold up, not you.
Osric.
No. I'll say not you, and then you're like, Osric.
I knew it started with an O, but no, I did not know his real name.
As I said, I play a know-it-all.
Yeah.
Life or art imitating life.
So, but now you had an NPC follower, but you also now have an NPC that doesn't talk at all, and you're just like, fuck.
Who do you have now?
His dream NPC.
Oh yeah, that's so much fun. Love that.
Oh, your dream NPC. Oh, I thought you were saying like his like ultimate fantasy NPC. No. I'm like, what? Like, oh right,
No, for those of you listening, somehow he has made an NPC that has gave me more information, has been more mysterious, and like got my interest up more than any other NPC without saying a word. Mm-hmm. That's how you make an NPC.
That's how you make an NPC.
It's a wet drow.
Oh, okay, you're making it weird.
Well, more
technically it is a wet drow, but
okay, but to be fair, your patron is the drowned one, so it tracks.
Yeah.
Oh, it's even worse than that. It's backstory related too. Like not patron story, backstory related.
Yeah.
Yeah. I pulled a lot of information to create this NPC.
I'm learning so much about Morthos now. Let's talk about it more.
And let's talk about NPCs. Like, let's talk about like NPCs that we encounter. We're very close. So like, we'll let the reins off of H in a few minutes. But so this NPC. So I wanted to figure out a way for a patron to talk to their warlock, right? But I wanted to do it, but I didn't want to do it in ways like the patron just calls up like, hey. I need you to do a thing for me. He's like, oh, yes, master. Of course, master. Yes. So I had this idea of a dreamscape. So Morthos has this thing in his backstory where he lost his first love. His first love was turned into an aspect of his power. So his first love still exists, kind of. So the way that the patron communicates with him is by taking on that form. She doesn't speak and just basically follows him through a dreamscape. And so Morthos experiences the things that he experiences, memories or visions that the patron wants him to see, because the patron isn't human, and so the patron will communicate in a way that it knows how to communicate. So spoken language is kind of a foreign concept to it, but visions and memories is something that it can grasp onto and make Morthos understand. And at the same time, I'm not telling Morthos anything. I'm not saying, oh, you need to do this. I'm showing him something, and I'm letting him come to his own conclusions of what he has to do. So,
well, and I think because you made us both roll, so I'm wondering if I botch the roll and he gets a higher one, will it accidentally contact me?
No,
because both times you've had us both roll, so I was like, interesting.
Yes, well, that's something entirely different.
Oh, okay, that's my little brain nugget. Gotcha.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Both of you have brain nuggets.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
So,
ugh. Want to trade?
No.
Damn.
Mine gives me powers. It asks simple things. I know what to expect. I don't know what yours wants.
Mine offers me power. I just haven't accepted it. Because,
it was
he's a
very
fucking
helpful.
demon.
It was very helpful to you.
Was it?
It was.
Was it?
Yeah. Told you. It gave you exactly what you wanted to know.
I mean, if you just accept it and say you want it to be your warlock daddy, you can take my pamphlet and you can know all about it. You just can't come into my church. We'll have to start your own church with a different patron, but...
Oh my god.
So what do you think, Morthos? Is that a good NPC or is that a bad NPC?
A good, very good NPC.
Well, and he tells me all about the dreams too, and so we just work together to try and figure out the dreams.
Very frustrating at times to figure out the dream interpretation, but that's what D&D is about. It's about trying to figure out things, trying to work there ain't no challenge at D&D it's pointless. So I like the challenge, but it's also frustrating at the same time.
Well,
because our characters aren't all knowing, so we have to learn with them or for them or however. Mm-hmm. So if they just automatically knew how to interpret a dream like that, it'd be no fun. Be oh yeah, we got to go here. Done, guys.
Yeah. And so it gives them a nugget of information that they can expand on, and you can tell a much fuller story by just a few scraps of information instead of just saying, yeah, I need you to go here and do the thing. And then all they're going to do is they're just going to go there and do the thing. But if you give them a piece of the puzzle, then they can come up to their own conclusions. And PCs have this habit of they will think of things that you've never even thought of. And you can tell a much better story doing it that way. And you need to using an NPC properly will help with that.
We come to the worst conclusions sometimes, though. You're wow, you took that in a very different direction.
And you got to make it work, Yeah. You can't be oh no, that's not how I wanted to do it, because we've had a DM like that. Is oh, I have this thought in my head and it has to be done this way. And I was oh my, thank God I wasn't there for that.
Let me hop off this railroad real quick. Yep.
Yeah. Thank God.
Literally.
Railroad. You hit the nail on the head with the railroad. Wow.
Oh man, that was some fun stuff. You guys want to talk about tension in a game? Mm-hmm. That whole episode was just...
Next month we'll talk about tension in the game. That's
tension. Oh my god.
That's a topic that we really need to talk about.
So I looked into the future a little bit when we were still making characters, and I was fortunate enough to go, no, I don't want to board that train for that particular thing.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
But I think you not playing was the reason I got to play. Was it?
I don't know, but I do know that I started to make characters, and I just was nope, this isn't going to be the thing for me.
No, the reason that you got to play was because you were recommended to play. It's okay.
Oh, okay.
Because normally, again, I like 5 people, so
yeah.
Chief was going to be the 5th, and he's I can't do it. And then Bishop was going to be the 5th, and he's I don't want to. I was
yeah.
And then I asked Poe.
Poe?
Poe was just slammed with work. So
Oh.
so we went with 5 people, and I wanted to play, and it was just it was rough. So
It was a hellstorm?
oh my god. All right, H. You've been very good. You've been a very good H. So with the last 5 minutes, you may talk about whichever NPC you want to. The good, the bad.
Dragon,
Okay.
right? Dragon.
So Dragon, no. Okay, so Drace, guys, he's awesome. He's amazing. He's currently dying because he's connected to the negative plane. Like and so my character is level 8, and she can't cast the level 9 spell Gate. She needs to learn how to cast that spell so that she can make her own little pocket dimension library, which is fucking amazing, by the way. Better than the portable hole she currently has, which is already amazing. So anyways, if anybody has high-level characters who can cast Gate and want to join our Tuesday game for like one session, just putting that out there.
Comment down below.
But you have to cast it. You got to be linked to like a positive plane because we got to get the negative stuff out of Drace. That way we can save him because he's dying. Also, I think he might be banging my character's mom.
What?
I don't know. He had a picture of my mom, so I'm not entirely sure there.
It's like up on a bookshelf.
I know, but like, why would he have a picture of my mom?
Well, if you remember, your mom left to the human kingdom. Like that dragon is the human kingdom.
What if Drace is your dad?
Oh my god, that thought really did hit me. I'm not gonna lie. When I saw that, I was like, is my dad even my real dad? Like,
Happy Father's Day.
I was just like, is Drace my dad? I don't know.
You never asked him about it, so.
I know, but he was...
He's gonna die and you won't even know he's your real dad.
I know. Like, Drace, I need you to take a paternity test. I know they don't exist, but I need you to do it anyways. Please and thank you.
Anywho.
No. We established back in Midgarin that we can compare DNA with magic.
That's right. There is a magical DNA test.
Yep.
That's right. All right, let's do it.
I think I give my PCs way too much. Way too much.
We're gonna stop off and make a rhyme and get this test done.
I didn't even like explore 3 of the 4 rooms in that place. Like, I looked in the. I looked only in the rooms he told me to. I didn't try.
You were like, no.
I did not physically try to open any of those doors.
It's like, all right, Drace, can I read the book? Sure, you can go read the book. Okay, I run in, grab the book, and then I try to dash the fuck out of there. not listening to any temptation. La 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 la.
Like, yup.
You kept saying like I was allowed to come down and interact with your thing. The only reason I didn't is because I know if I played Morthos in character, he would have walked in there,
right,
and he would have heard that time doesn't work the same in here. He would have studied in there until he came out a whole level or 2 higher. He would have sat in there and studied all the secrets he could have.
Oh my gosh.
He would not have been like you.
She's trying to, keep his respect and his trust.
Morthos does not care at all. He would have been like, knowledge is power. Must get knowledge to become more powerful.
I mean, that's how Mal is too, but like she apparently has a line that she will not cross.
Yeah. I have no line. I would have stole half the books and put them in my church yeah.
You mean your boat?
Okay, so I guess that's the question. Is Drace a good NPC or is he a bad NPC?
Oh, he's a great NPC.
Okay, why?
He's very mysterious.
Okay.
I mean, he provides me with hours of entertainment, personally. Literally without even getting out of, that sounds wrong. I was going to say without getting out of bed. He's very weak. He is dying. He's in bed. He's bedridden currently. And, he's giving me ideas for things to do with my own character, once she gets to the higher levels. So I'm like, oh, I never would have considered this spell as one to learn. And now I'm like, well, there's my first 9th level.
So you do know that Drace can cast 9th level spells, which is the highest tier of spells in the game Dungeons & Dragons. So he is obviously a high level caster.
Right.
But, do you believe that he's like a typical DM NPC, like an overpowered NPC?
Not at all.
Why not?
Did I mention he's currently dying?
He wasn't always like you didn't meet him as like, oh, I'm dead, I'm dying. Like you've met him like before that. Like there was like, Jesus, how long have you guys been playing? There's
a while.
You've been playing for like 6 months. Like this is a new thing. Like
yeah, but he's never been like super in your face about how powerful he is. He just kind of keeps to himself as much as possible, and
he's not always with us solving all of our problems.
Yeah.
Every now and then he'll step in and help us out with something, but in a kind gesture way, not in a, oh, I'm better than you, let me come just solve all the problems way. That's the big difference.
I don't even know if they're kind gestures. They're more like, okay, stop pestering me, I'll show you. Jesus Christ.
Sometimes, yes.
That's definitely more of his personality is leave me alone.
Exactly. He's like, all right, here, just take the cookie and go.
No, he's keeping the cookies. What do you mean?
That's true. He does keep the cookies.
I seriously was like they're like during the cookie scene, like my first thought was like, would he actually accept the cookies or would he just pass them on to his master? Just like, oh, Mal wanted you to have these. Like that was like, seriously, that was a thought going through my head. It was like, how would he interpret the cookie? Like, would he like, oh, this is supposed to be a gift for my employer? Like this, like it's not for me, because that's kind of like how he sees himself. Like he is Dragon's servant. He's not. Yeah. He's not like, it's like, oh, this person is like, they want me to do my job. That thought really went through my head, and then like I had another player's like, don't do that. I was like, why not? It's like, because that's something that the PC is trying to, that's a story that the PC is trying to do, and Drake's not accepting the cookie would ruin that part of the story. I was like, okay.
Wouldn't have ruined it. It just would have, broken Mal's heart a little bit. It's fine.
Well, yeah, but like you went through this, you went through all this trouble. Like you looked up a fucking poem.
I mean,
yeah, it was like the Cookie Monster
it was the
poem.
Cookie Monster poem.
But at the same time, it's like, oh, she put in a lot of work. Okay,
Nothing ever came of my poem. Remember when I got addicted to dragon poems for like one session?
No.
You don't remember when Morthos got addicted to dragon poems and I was just like in the library reading dragon poems for a whole session?
No, I don't.
And then I wrote one of my own in real life. You do not remember that?
Did you send it to me?
Yes, I sent it to I posted it somewhere.
You posted yeah. Matt, like H actually sent me the poem. It's like, this is the poem. I was like, so like I remember reading it. I was like, but if you posted it on like, did you post it on like the text RP? Because I would like to point out that there are. I like to point out that there are like pages of text RP that I am just not sifting through.
It's true. There's a lot.
I will find this dragon poem I wrote.
I want you to. I really want this dragon poem now, and
it's somewhere in some thing that I've sent to.
And I will read it out loud on the next podcast.
I created the pieces of art, by the way. Did he tell you that, Chief?
What pieces?
I didn't tell him that because
the 9 art pieces worth 250 gold that we have currently stored in Mal's portable hole.
Oh.
I will send you pictures. That way, if you want to keep any of them.
It was really cool. I got the 9 pieces. So I was like, it's like, oh yeah, why don't you figure out what they are? And like I just got like this wide-eyed emoji. I was like, yeah, why not? Because I wasn't gonna do it, and then like I think like 1 o'clock in the morning or something like that. Yeah,
that sounds all right.
Like I wasn't like, it didn't wake me up. But I opened up my phone. I was like, had a message from 1 o'clock. It's like, here they are. It was like, it was this list of 9 items. I was reading. I was like, wow, that's pretty freaking impressive. Okay, cool.
Some of them have like investigation checks to like learn extra information and stuff.
But
it's like, way too detailed than I was ever think.
But we have gotten off topic last time.
I would be a great DM. I just cannot like deal with players on the fly.
It takes a lot of practice. But we are coming close to the end of our time, so let us go ahead and talk about. Does anybody have any final thoughts for tonight?
Be careful with your NPCs. There's a fine line between overpowered character and just helpful oddity who shows up every once in a while.
Chief?
Pretty much explained it how I would, yeah. Make sure you give them all the personality quirks and all the flaws. Make sure they're not too overpowered. And if they are overpowered, make sure they sit back and don't solve every problem. Yeah, we went over everything pretty well.
And you gotta make them kind of human. Like, make them as if you would kill a PC, make sure that you would kill an NPC. Like, don't
Yes,
put on some kind of pedestal.
Even if they're not overpowered, if you save them from death when they should have died, no, bad.
Yeah, bad. Tisk tisk.
Yep. Don't save NPCs.
Yep. It's a new hashtag.
Looking at you, H. Don't save it.
No, I will. That's my job as the PC. I'm talking about DMs.
Oh,
DMs don't just save it. Yeah, no, that is my job.
Yeah, don't say,
I'm
Hey, my
a
little buddy
hero.
had to die,
for all the NPCs.
Yeah, well, that's on you.
For all the
but it's not on me.
If you weren't running away, maybe you could have flipped.
I was under a spell that made me run away. Okay,
I mean,
Spell, yeah.
technicalities.
spell like ability.
So, for all the DMs out there, have fun with it. Make sure that when you do create an NPC, make sure that the PCs are going to have fun with them. Make sure that they have a small personality. They don't have to have a huge backstory. Make sure that they have a goal, they have a flaw, they have a quirk, and they have a personality trait, and build around that. You don't have to have a 6-page backstory for each NPC. Honestly, most of the stuff that I do is on the fly. Now, the more that they're used, the more that you're going to develop a story for them. And PCs will get attached to them. And, the PCs will get attached to them. Some of your PCs are going to hate them. Some of them are going to love them. And PCs are all different. So some of the ones that love the PCs, the others are going to hate it. And you just have to go with it. You just have to go with the flow. And you have to understand that it's the player character story. The NPCs are just there to help the story. They're just there to make the story seem more real. That's pretty much it for tonight. We do appreciate you coming out, sitting with us at the table. I can't wait to see you all next week as we sit around the campfire and we're just going to tell a story each.
So are we burning the table? Is the table going to be the kindling for the campfire next week?
No, it's a special made table.
Okay. So we're so we're not actually going camping then.
Found it.
Oh, hey, you can read the poem. We can end the end the episode with this poem.
So for very special, we're going to have Chief read his very special poem that he wrote
in Morthos'
voice.
Okay.
Have fun.
He draws his swords of metal. The sound does strike great fear, and not another sound alive could the dragon hear. He charges towards the mighty beast. His mission glory be. He cares not what the consequences, but that he gets his fee. The dragon stands in self-defense. His strength musters all. But it is too late for the Elder One. The mighty dragon falls. The knight believes his battle won. The dragon has been slain. But knight will never know the honor of the dragon's pain. The death does bring the money in. His own coffin be filled. Now never shall his hunger strike. He'll never feel the chill. But when death comes to the night, endures torture wait, while dragons up above does live inside the heaven's gates.
Minstrels, play us out.